Okay, I have a thought for the day. And it's this: each one of us is the shape of God's heart. So I'm in Texas last week, and I get a text message from a homie I don't know, but he had gotten my number from some homie, and he's a really nice message, real kind, and he's asking for help, and it was quite long, explaining his situation. And he was kind of formal at the beginning. He was trying to write Father Greg, and then autocorrect helped him, and so he wrote Fat Boy Greg. So at least I think he was trying to write Father Greg. But I want to put the best interpretation on the fact that it ended up being Fat Boy Greg. You know, sometimes the messages we send are not the messages that people receive. Doctors say that if you try to nurture a sense of positive interpretation bias, then you're healthier, you feel better, you have a greater sense of well-being. We all have a bias. It's either negative or positive. Either the glass is half full or half empty. Depends on how you see things, and it matters to sort of understand that everybody is the shape of God's heart, and then it's a way of coloring how you see the world. A homie texted me the other day, "Are you mad at me?" And he works here. And I called him in. "Why would you think I was mad at you?" He said, "Well, you were walking through the bathroom, you said hi to these two folks, but you didn't say hi to me." I said, "Well, I was a man on a mission. I was going to the bathroom." But there's a kind of a bias in interpretation where you want to say, "No, I'm going to give the best interpretation. I'm going to somehow be positive and pure." Kind of famously years ago, I took 3 homies to the White House, Gus, Gabriel, and Herbie, and we spoke at Howard University, sponsored by Laura Bush, the First Lady at the time. And so afterwards we went to the White House, and these 3 gang members all dressed in suits. And we're walking down the halls, and the butlers had trays of long stem glasses of white wine, and the homies were snatching those puppies up as quickly as they could. And then in the blue room, green room, and the red room of the White House, there was, kind of string quartets and brass bands, and it was really elegant. And then the gold room, the biggest room, had all the food, the buffet, the likes of which I've never seen before. They had, rack of lamb. It was perfection. They had a salmon, like the size of a duffel bag. They had pastas and salads and desserts, and they had these little white potatoes cut lengthwise with a hole bored out in the middle, stuffed with caviar and a sprig of chive. So I'm standing there for my 4th visit to the buffet table, Fat Boy Greg, and standing next to me was Gabriel. He comes up to me, and Gabriel, in his suit, big stocky guy, face and neck covered in tattoos. On first bounce, you might look at him and say, "Well, that's a scary looking buckle." You might not want to meet him in a dark alley or even a well-lit one. At the time when we first moved in here, he was the tour guide. Now we have dozens of them, but he was the only one, and he gave great tours. So he's looking at the buffet, and he spots those little potato suckers, and he pops one of them in his mouth, and we're standing there, and he grabs a napkin, he spits the whole mess into the napkin, and he says, "This shit tastes nasty." And it was a just showstopper. Everybody turns and looks at him, and I think the Secret Service lunged a little more slightly. Anyway, the next day we're flying home, and in the middle of the flight, he says, "I gotta go to the baño." And I said, "Well, it's in the back." 45 minutes later, he comes back. And I said, "Oye, cabrón, ¿qué pasó? I thought you fell in or what?" Oh, I was just talking to that lady back there. And so I turn around and I see the flight attendant. She's standing by herself at the back of the plane. He said, "I made her cry. I hope that's okay." I go, "Well, Gabriel, it might depend on what you actually said to this woman, And, well, she saw my Homeboy Industries t-shirt, and she saw all my tattoos. I don't know. She asked me a gang of questions. So I gave her a tour of the office. At 34,000 feet, Gabriel walks this woman through the office. She introduces her to the job developers and employment services. He puts a hairnet on her so she can watch enemy rival gang members bake bread together. He hands her goggles so she can watch tattoos being removed. And then I told her yesterday we made history. For the first time in the history of this country, 3 gang members walked into the White House. We had dinner there. I told her the food tasted nasty. And she cried. I said, Miko, what you expect? She just caught a glimpse of you. She saw that you are somebody. She recognized you as the shape of God's heart. People cry sometimes when they see that. You'll feel better, we all will, if we nurture a positive interpretation of everything. If we get a real and true glimpse of each person here, knowing that without exception, each one of us is the shape of God's heart.